What's going on, everyone? Vic from the Stump Shop back with another video. Now, I just recently spent almost 3 weeks in Europe with my family, touring around, eating well. We had a rental car, so we drove through mountains and all that. Simply incredible. Now, on top of that, I've been making woodworking videos for over a decade. So I thought, you know what? It's time. It's time to try out the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So I picked these up before my European trip, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. Is it worth it for content creators, just for family life, for traveling? I'll break it down for you. But first, I figured I'll show you what they look like when I'm wearing them. You know what? Before we get started, I need a coffee. In fact, I'll wear these glasses to make that coffee so you get a first chance to see the POV. Okay, so I'm going to film this using the glasses only and the speakers that are on the glasses also. So I'm not using a microphone right now. So this is how the audio is. Did you guys know when you're using this frother, you don't actually need the lid? My wife told me that. So I just put in my milk. And look, it doesn't splash at all. All right, while we wait for that, let's head over to the mirror and take a look. There you go. So that light you can't turn off fully. There is an option to dim it or to make it automatic based off the conditions. I have it set actually to the lowest and it's still that bright. Obviously for privacy reasons, that light has to be on when recording. Now, can you tape it up or hold your hand over it like this? Of course you can, but anyways, that's not the point. Now that's the camera lens there. That's what's recording this. And then there's some other features here. So once my coffee's done, we'll head back to the office and I'll show you all the details. I've been practicing my cappuccino art. Check it out. It's a heart. Now that I got my coffee, let's get into those details. I guess that's my job too. Let's get into the details. Now that you've seen the case here, let's take a look inside. These are the Ray-Ban Wayfarers. They come in different styles, different sizes, these Meta glasses, but these are the ones I've always enjoyed, my Wayfarers, and you can tell right off the bat how thick they are, how much bigger they are than regular glasses, but ultimately, they're actually still pretty lightweight. That's what they look like. Ray-Ban partnered with Meta. Where are these made actually? Let's take a look. Oh, right there, made in China. Ray-Bans are usually made in Italy. I guess not these ones. Like I said, I always wore Ray-Ban Wayfarers, one of my favorite styles. So I grabbed my regular Wayfarers, a couple of years old now, that I've always been wearing. Wow. That's what they look like. You can tell the size comparison here. They're pretty much, to be honest, almost identical. Just like I said, the way thicker frame in this part here. That's obviously where they have all the batteries and all the computer components. But ultimately, size-wise, it might be a little bit bigger, but pretty similar. Let's take a look at some of the up-close features. I actually didn't even know this button was there for like maybe the first 2 weeks of owning these, but you can actually turn the glasses on and off. Now it sounds funny, but you would think when they're in their case, they're off, they've disconnected from your Bluetooth and everything, and when you're wearing them, you figured you would just want them on at all times for AI purposes or you're listening to music or whatever, but in fact, you could turn them off if you don't want it. For me, for example, when I get in my car, I don't like that this takes over from the car's Bluetooth, this and that. But if I still want to wear them as sunglasses, then you can turn them on and off with this little power switch here. Closer view of the arms or stems of the glasses shows those little holes. You'll see them on both sides. And now those are the speakers. And because they're it's around there and there, that's right by your ear hole. So that's why you're really the only one that actually hears these. This here on this side, I guess that's another reason why it's a little bit thicker, is the volume pad. So by swiping forward, you're raising the volume of whatever you're listening to, and vice versa. By going backwards, you're making something quieter. Now this is also a smart pad, I think they call it, where you can actually click it, hold it, and it turns features on and off. And you can set all those features in the Meta AI app. There's a section for the Meta glasses, and then you can have it so that when you hold it down for, a second or two, it turns Spotify on or off. And you can change that setting, like I said. But that's the volume control. And then now this button here, which is right above that volume trackpad I just talked about, is the button to take pictures and videos. So that button is on the right stem here, and you can set it for whatever you want. For me, one click is a photo, and if I hold it down for, I guess, about zero point 0.2, zero point 0.3 seconds, it starts the video process. Now, alternatively, what I was doing in Europe a lot was, hey, Meta, start recording. And that way you don't look like a weirdo constantly clicking your glasses and stuff. And it's a little bit less suspicious where, you're not walking around like this in a restaurant taking pics of people, because I believe, let's test it. Did that light flash when I took a picture? It probably does. And then this here is me recording me. Does that make sense? But you can tell the light's on, right? So actually, I was at a diner the other day and I wanted to get a little shot inside, but I know nowadays everyone's filming and stuff, but I still don't like going around with my phone. But what I did was I put my glasses on before I went in the restaurant, and when I walked through the restaurant, kind of quickly, I was just kind of like this, like scratching my head. Look, that kind of covers it. And it was a 50s diner. I wanted to show people this 50s diner. It was really cool. Actually, let me show you the footage. Now you can either tap the button to stop the recording, or you can say, hey Meta, stop recording. And then the camera stops recording. So I like that feature. Speaking of speaking to your glasses and your Meta AI, that's the other amazing feature, is that you have Meta AI in your, on your head at all times. In Europe, in museums and directions, it was just simply incredible. I would say things like, hey Meta, in Austria, can I turn right on a red? Like while I'm sitting at the red light, and I'd get an answer, right? Saying, I found out you can, but I wouldn't have known that. You know what I mean? It just went through and completely told me in Austria it is allowed. However, it's subject to signs, just like here. No right on red signs, blah, blah, blah. But, things like that when you're just in the middle of driving, literally. Or I would look at something in a museum and say, hey Meta, what am I looking at, and tell me about it. And it'll take a picture of a statue of a lion. And if it's like a special statue that it can, distinguish from other lion statues, it'll tell me about it. It told me all about churches and cathedrals. So in that sense, these glasses were amazing. Now, just like with any electronics or pretty much anything in life, it would be unrealistic to say that there were absolutely no downsides to this. So I'll talk about them quickly because really, there's not that many. But the number one thing you would think, and that I've noticed, is because they are a little bit thicker and heavier, they roll down or fall down on my nose, a little bit. So I find myself doing that thing more often than not. But really, after a while, you kind of just, you don't really notice it that much. So that's not a terrible issue. Battery life. I can't even give an honest review of it because the batteries for me, traveling Europe, wearing them all day with Google Maps telling me where to go, taking pictures and videos, the battery has never run out on me. So I can't even tell you when that happens, because what happens is when you take these off and put them in the case, that's how they charge. And then you got to make sure the case is charged. It's just like the AirPods where the case will charge the glasses and then eventually this runs out also. So in terms of battery life, I thought it was amazing. Now, another one of the downsides to this, especially in Europe with the heat wave, and I noticed it biking the other day, is sweat. I sweat a lot, especially in this kind of weather, and this is all electronic. Here is that charging port underneath. So I don't know if the sweat is actually good for it or if this is water resistant or waterproof. It's got little speaker holes right there. But that's it. That's other than that. I mean, if you don't sweat a lot, or just wear a hat or a headband or something. But yeah, the sweat is also one of my concerns with this piece of electronic equipment. The audio, the volume, the clarity. You guys have seen it in some of the videos, especially the one earlier where I made coffee. I think the audio and the recording on this, the microphone, is in fact great. I've had no problems with it. In fact, some of the concerts we went to in Europe, this is where I recorded not just the visual video, but also the music or the audio that goes along with it. And to be honest with you, I mean it's great. I've had no issues with it, so that's not something I can complain about either. Zooming, you can't do that. You can't zoom in the middle of a video. Obviously, there's nowhere to control that. So that's one thing. If you're really concerned about, you'll have to deal with that in the post editing. The transitions turning from clear to, dark outside in the sun, I found that there could be a little bit quicker. Now, I don't know if there's some sort of transition technology that could be advanced, but I'll go outside sometimes when it's super sunny and I'm doing this and kind of squinting as if I don't even have glasses on for several minutes before these finally, tint and dark over. But that's, another little side issue that you can get used to. The price. Now, is that a downside? When you compare them to regular Ray-Bans, those are usually between $200 and $300. These ones I paid $550 plus tax and shipping Canadian. So in the end, it's about $200-300 more than regular Ray-Bans would be with all of these features built in. So I'm not sure if the price is a downside. I thought it was a fair investment, but I also use them all the time. I'm a content creator and I make videos and I enjoy listening to books and music. So for me, that wasn't really a downside. So there you have it. Ultimately, I think the pros far outweigh the cons of these glasses. So if you're just a normal dude like I am who makes some videos, has a family and enjoys music and just having that technology attached to their head in this price range, I think you can't go wrong. That's my honest review of the Ray-Ban Metas. And I know the next gen, they're already talking about having like a heads-up display and probably better technology and all that. And I know in terms of the translating, automatically when I'm listening to someone talk, it could translate different languages. They're working on expanding that because currently it's only a few languages, I believe. But for now, this generation, and this model that I have, I highly recommend it if you're a dude like me who doesn't always need 4K and the best with a big camera. Grab yourself a pair. Now, before we head out, let me show you about this case and how the charging works, and then we're out of here. Back to the case here, just to wrap it up. Remember that there's the little prongs that part of the glasses connects to, and when you put it away, you clip them in, and they are charging. So what do you think? Would you wear them? Would you use them for your purposes? Let me know below in the comments and hit that like and subscribe button. Help me out here. And if you enjoyed this video, I'll be back with more reviews. But those are the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. In the end, I suggest them if it's good for you. So in the end, you're making your own decision, but I recommend them.